I usually pull out the weeds manually, by hand. I have pretty decent um, flexibility in my hips, so I can bend over in my wheelchair and pick out the weeds by hand. The weed eater is something that you want to be kind of careful with. It has uh, the firm or hard plastic strings on the end there, and whenever you push the button, those those hard plastic strings get going really fast. And whenever those hard plastic strings hit rocks or anything like that, then they fly. So people put pants on, you know. But I was lazy and I didn't put pants on, and I probably should have done that. I figured, well, I have knee-high socks, so I might not have the problem with bruising up my skin with the rocks, with the flying rocks or flying. I think a few hit my legs because I got a little bit of cuts on them, but nothing major. They're just minor cuts. Um, but anyway, so what I do is I push the trigger, and what I do is I have the weed eater um, uh, moved so that it is at the shortest. It's very, very short. This is the shortest that you can have the weed eater at. Um, let's see. I'm using the string. I'm using some string that I put on. I restrung the weed eater myself. Um, it took a little while to figure out how to do this, and not you know because you end up going through a lot of string if you don't do it correctly, because you're learning. You're sometimes you end up, for some reason, the string gets caught and you don't you know it gets caught or it gets cut off, and it has its own self self-making or self-propagating string. So you tie the string up inside the container there, and at the front, at the head, and it extends by itself. But it extends whenever it's needed. You can tell somehow. I don't know how, but anyway, so the more hard things that you hit, like if you hit a brick wall, or if you hit a lot of ground, a lot of hard ground and things like that, then your string will be eaten up. It will break off quicker the more that you hit hard objects. You know, you want to make sure that you don't hit your wheelchair, hit your feet with with the with the weed eater as you move along. And I try to be as careful as I can whenever I'm doing this. Um, and as far as the string on the weed eater, I think I'm using a Black & Decker weed eater. As far as the string on the weed eater, then I will show you how I string up the add more string to the weed eater if you want. Um, I tell you though, I am a lot more comfortable doing weed pulling manually uh, on the ground, just bending over and picking up the weeds by myself, than using a weed eater, because the weed eater, the things grow back. A lot of the weeds grow back very fast, and I don't really care for that.